Right now on Denver 7 News at 6 a.m., a troubled school district forced to reorganize.
Is the future of this district going to be secure? The answer is yes.
The state votes to strip Adams 14 of its accreditation.
Students and families, they won't see changes right away. On Denver 7's Veronica Acosta, how long this process could take.
Plus, Colorado lawmakers have just hours to pass any last-minute measures.
I'm Denver 7's Jessica Crawford. All morning long, I'm walking you through the bills that are still undecided and the new laws that could impact you.
And the new statewide housing report shows homes in Colorado are becoming less attainable and affordable.
A much larger group of people are being priced out of the housing market.
The impacts we could see if more families are forced to be lifelong renters. New report out this morning. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Nicole Brady.
And I'm Brian Sanders. Good morning to you. Yeah, housing market is out of whack. Weather feels like it is. Also, it's going to be really warm today. The wind has been crazy, and so the fire danger is high once again.
Yeah, look at this map. You can see these red flag warnings cover pretty much the entire state, all of eastern Colorado. The winds are pretty calm right now. Nice to enjoy a few hours of some calm conditions. You can see we have a little cloud cover out east there from our Viero camera in Lyman, but otherwise we are in for some pretty dry and sunny weather today. The winds right now have been at about 10 to near 15 miles per hour in Denver. We're going to see gusts up to about 50 miles per hour this afternoon. Sustained winds right around 20 to about 30. And those winds will really start to kick up, it looks like, closer to lunchtime. By that point, look how warm it is too. We're near 80 degrees by 12 o'clock. We're going to be well into the mid to upper 80s. In fact, hitting highs close to about 90 degrees here in Denver. That 88 puts us just 2 degrees off from the record high of 90 set back in 1961. We'll see mid to upper 90s to the southeast, 70s in the mountains. Coming up, things are going to cool down a bit tomorrow, but unfortunately the winds are not going to die down. I'll show you just how windy it's going to get coming up.
And right now we have one problem in the Denver Tech Center for you folks. It'll be heading south on I-25. It's going to be going between Bellevue and Orchard, really closer to Bellevue right in here. You can see some of the slowing traffic showing up on the map. Take a look at distance. Air Tracker 7 right now is heading that way. So here's the Union Bridge, and you can see the activity coming off. That would be the ramp from Bellevue to go southbound I-25, and you can see it's right in here as they call it out as a car fire, vehicle fire. Now, most of the fire equipment, it looks like a lot of it left. There was a lot of flashing lights, but you can see a little pocket of slowing. Not going to be long-lived, maybe an extra 2 minutes in there at best, so it's really not worth an alternate route right now, but I'll keep an eye on that situation. But it will be blocking that ramp coming from Bellevue to go southbound, so you might want to run down to Orchard and get to it from there. You can see in the drive times, not too bad for us, just an extra minute or so there. The rest of the drive looks okay, including I-70 getting busier in the usual spots like I-76 and 270.
The state takes unprecedented action against a Colorado school district. The school board for the state voted to remove Adams 14's accreditation after years of poor performance.
Yeah, Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us live near Adams City High School in Commerce City this morning because, Veronica, nothing changes today, but with the end of the school year approaching, I'm sure families are wondering what the future holds.
Nothing changes today. The day is set to go on as it always does. Students are going to show up to their first period. They're going to have their lunch break. They're going to go on throughout their day like they usually do. And that's going to be the case at all Adams 14 schools across the district as well. Where the change comes in is this reorganization process that's now going to be in place. The first step of that process is creating what's called an organization planning committee. That committee will be tasked with coming up with a new plan for the district, and that's one that community members will actually be able to give their feedback on. Part of that will require working with an outside management company. That company is called TNTP. Now, during a meeting back in April, the school district came up with its own plan to fix some of its issues. Those included stronger systems around the teacher learning cycle, improving student performance through shared accountability system, among some other measures. That wasn't enough, though. District leaders told us losing that accreditation isn't ideal, but makes them strengthen their commitment to these students.
We ain't going anywhere. Our superintendent, our leadership team, our school board, we came into this knowing this wouldn't be easy. Turnaround never is. What they care about is my school going to be there next year? The answer is yes. Are the teachers that I know and trust going to be given the opportunity to do their job? The answer is a categorical yes.
And that reorganization process, it's not going to happen overnight. Officials say it could take up to 1 year. We're in Commerce City this morning. I'm Veronica, Coast Denver 7.
Of course, this has been a tumultuous year for Adams 14, Veronica, but the district has been struggling for over a decade. A timeline to give you some context: since 2010, the state has received the two lowest performance ratings, or the district has received from the state the two lowest performance ratings possible. And since 2011, its four-year graduation rate has stayed at least 11% below the statewide average. Also, consistent leadership has been an issue. Since 2008, the district has had 7 different superintendents.
Well, today is the last day for state lawmakers to pass any new legislation on to the governor. It is the last day of this year's session, but a number of bills are still hanging out there, so there's a lot of work to do in just a short amount of time. In the House, Republican representatives are asking bills to be read out loud in their entirety, which is a stall tactic allowed under the state constitution. They hope to leave Democrats with little time to pass some of the more controversial bills. Denver 7's Jessica Crawford is live outside the state capitol this morning with a look at some of the bills that are coming down to the wire.
That's right, Brian. And one of the bills that we have been keeping an eye on for months is the fentanyl bill. It's moved on to something called a conference committee, and that conference committee could maybe get a final bill going, but we'll see about that. This is all coming after last night when the House could not pass a version approved by the state Senate. As written now, it increases penalties for those in possession of the deadly synthetic opioid. The threshold for felony charges is 1 gram instead of 4. The measure also puts millions of dollars towards drug testing and treatment. Another measure helps address the hospital staffing problems that arose during the height of the pandemic. This bill requires each hospital to create a committee to come up with a nursing staffing plan. The plan would be sent to the state and posted online. And finally, we have 2 environmental bills, one called the Producer Responsibility Program for Recycling. It would require companies that sell products in Colorado to pay into a program that in turn establishes a list of recyclable items and educates the public on it. There would also be incentives for those same producers to use recycled products. And a bill that is meant to make new homes and other buildings more energy efficient. That's still under discussion. The state would have to come up with an energy code by 2025 that exceeds international standards. The bill also creates grant programs to convert public building HVAC systems to electricity. Now, while those bills are still on the line, a number of them have passed, from universal pre-K to also reproductive rights. We're going to explore those a little bit later on in the show. Live in Denver, I'm Jessica Crawford, Denver 7.
Thank you, Jessica. Well, new this morning, the Colorado Association of Realtors has released its statewide housing report for April.
And once again, it shows prices are still going up across Colorado. This morning, we're taking a 360 in-depth look at the current state of housing. We'll break down the notable parts of this new report. Also, as buying a home becomes more out of reach for many, an economics expert weighs in on the impacts of permanent rentership.
Yeah, and the new housing community designed to help older adults who are being priced out of their current homes. But let's start with a breakdown of the report. Statewide, the average sales price for a single-family home in April was nearly $750,000. And even townhouses and condos are going up with an average of $575,000. And some counties are pricing out more and more workers.
81% of all homes in Summit County are over the $1 million price point. And so that's not entirely surprising. We've seen that going on for quite some time, but 80% over $1 million, my goodness, that is noteworthy, especially in these resort and mountain communities where you need lots of hardworking people up there to be able to facilitate it.
From the mountains to the suburbs, as homes become unaffordable for more Coloradans, many may be forced into permanent rentership with no way to build wealth from a home, even while paying higher and higher rents.
The benefits to home ownership are so far above and beyond the benefits to renting, right? If you rent, you pay the same amount that you would pay for a mortgage every month, but your money is essentially, getting thrown away. You're not building any equities.
I sat down with MSU Denver economics professor Christina Huber. She told me from a macroeconomic standpoint, it's not bad to have more renters or a good balance between the two. She says renters encourage more affordable housing development and preferably close to city centers and transit. Ownership, meanwhile, locks wealth into homes and leads to problems like NIMBYism, or not in my backyard.
Once you own your home, your incentive is for building to slow down and stop, right? Because that's how your home price goes up.
The bigger problem, she says, though, is that as home prices rise, a huge wealth gap is growing between renters and owners. We told you last week Americans who owned their homes have gained a combined $6 trillion in wealth from that equity last year. They'll be able to use that money to invest and make more money, send their kids to college, or pass it on as an inheritance, leading to even greater inequality.
I really think in a few decades this is going to be a very big public policy issue that we're going to have to deal with, because you're going to have this generation of people that were totally priced out of the housing market.
Now, Professor Huber did point out there are a growing number of programs in some cities that help renters build an equity stake in the homes they live in.
And also, as prices go up, more seniors are finding themselves priced out. But a new apartment community opening up in Longmont is designed to help. The apartments at Cinnamon Park have 25 units for lower income seniors. You can apply for spots through Senior Housing Options. Lisa.
It is going to be a warm, windy day today. Tomorrow a little cooler, but still windy. So as your kids are getting ready for school today, definitely t-shirt and shorts weather. We're going to be in the upper 40s, at low 50s. They may want a sweatshirt early this morning, but this afternoon, 85 between about 2 and 3. We'll hit highs closer to 90 between about 4 and 5 o'clock. So it is going to be warm. I'll show you the high fire danger here today and tomorrow coming up.
And we had that car fire on the southbound side of I-25 just after Bellevue, and it was really hampering the ramp coming from Bellevue to go southbound towards Orchard. You see they're going to get it up on the tow truck, haul it out of here, so they'll get all lanes open here in just a second. So no big delay getting down to the Denver Tech Center, maybe an extra 2 or 3 minutes. So if you're just leaving the house, probably going to see just a slight slowdown heading to the Denver Tech Center along southbound I-25 by the time you get there.
Well, new college graduates aren't prioritizing salaries as they hunt for jobs. What they think is more important than money.
Plus, some TSA workers are volunteering to move airports to help you speed through security for your summer travels.